Welcome to the Artist Academy podcast. I'm your host, Andrea Earhart, and I am so excited that you're here to catch the weekly replay of my laid-back yet very inspiring conversations with other full-time professional artists. The purpose of this series is to show aspiring artists that it is completely possible to have a great career in the arts. And if you ever want to tune in and have your questions answered in real time by myself or featured guests, then just check out the schedule over at facebook.com/groups/Artist Academy every Tuesday to catch us on live. I'll see you there. This episode is sponsored by the Artist Academy Advanced Membership, a program for artists who want to up-level their art game by taking it from a hobby or a side hustle to a full-time six-figure art business. With weekly trainings that include step-by-step proven art business techniques, plus painting tutorials from yours truly and other guest artists who are masters in their field, you will be well equipped to learn and grow into the highly skilled and highly profitable artist you know you're meant to be. I've figured out what it takes to build my own six-figure art business, and now my heart is set on teaching aspiring artists like you to do the same. It's not hard, but it does require your time and dedication. So if you're up for the challenge, go to advancedmember.com. That's advancedmember.com to learn more. This episode features a watercolorist from Australia, Tony White. I think this interview is going to be very relatable to a lot of you parents out there because Tony is trying to make it work with a couple very young kids at home. He's trying to squeeze in painting time between being a full-time parent and doing all the things to run his art business. Tony does video, and you all know how interested I am in all things video, so we get into that and many of the other different aspects of his art business. So let me know what you think about this week's episode with Tony White. So if you want to just start with describing who you are, how you became an artist, and just all the background stuff.
Cool, no worries. My name's Tony White. I am a watercolorist from Australia, and I guess I've been painting and drawing most of my life. I did stop for a while there in my teen years when I sort of played music and taught guitar and all that kind of stuff. And I still sort of play music now a couple of times a month. I still do gigs and just play and sing songs, which was great the other day with my throat. But I got right back into painting probably about 10 years ago and sort of never looked back. And that's pretty much it. There's not really much more to it. It's just the background is always done it. There was an old lady who helped me when I was a teenager. She was from England and she had a lot of background in the pure watercolor side of things, and she taught me a lot. And I've taken that into my career now, I suppose. Yeah. So
yeah, so fun. Okay, awesome. So what kind of art do you create?
Primarily landscape, impressionistic style landscape paintings. I'm not into hyperrealism or anything like that. I just, my opinion on that, and bear in mind, it's just my opinion, everybody. My opinion of that is it's just, take a photograph, it's something that it already exists. You don't need to recreate it exactly how it looks. I mean, I admire the people who can do it. I admire their patience and their skill, but it doesn't scream art to me. It's got to move you, it's got to have some kind of mood and atmosphere and all that kind of stuff. And so, I just try to create moody, impressionistic sort of paintings.
Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah, and it's such a different kind of point of view. A lot of artists, they either have your point of view or the one to where it has to look just like the reference photo or it has to look so real. And then there are people and that's like person B, and then person A is over here like it's got to be creative. It's got to be something from your imagination. It's got to be
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Like I always say that references, whether you be painting on location or using a photo or anything like that, references are just that. They're references. So use them to put your main big shapes in and go for it. But if you feel like it needs, a red garbage bin somewhere, put a red garbage bin somewhere. It doesn't matter. So.
Yeah. So what was the tipping point that took you from hobby to professional artist?
Well, I was working in a bank. I worked in IT for a bank for 10 years, and that's enough to pretty much sap the life out of you, essentially. Yeah. And I know people, old work friends, that are still there and have been there for decades, and I don't get it. But yeah, I was working in a bank, and I actually started giving workshops just at my local art society. They asked me to do it once, and I said, yeah, I loved it. And I just kept developing those contacts and things for getting more and more workshops. And that's kind of the impetus of me just saying, no, one day I'm out, I'm quitting. And much to my wife's dismay at the time, she's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? You're going to paint full time? What? Mm-hmm. To which I said, well, yeah, and making it work. And it's only about 18 months into it so far, and it's gone from strength to strength. Still not where I want it to be, but yeah, getting there.
Yeah, awesome. So cool. So what makes up your typical work day? How many hours do you spend painting?
Painting, not enough due to the little kids being around, but I probably paint for about 2 hours a day. But I do a lot of prep in that time, as far as resources. I do a lot of emailing. I do a lot of the admin side of things. Your social media stuff, which I'm not that great at yet. I'm trying to get better. And all the sort of preparations for painting, doing little sketches and doing the drawings up, ready to go paint. And but yeah, on average, I'd probably paint around 2 to 3 hours a day.
2 to 3 hours? That's
more.
Hardly at all. Yeah.
I know. I wish it was more. What I have to do is start coming here at night time when I'm tired, and just paint when I'm tired. And but yeah, at the moment it's all just during the day when I can get a free moment away from the kids.
Are they homeschooled or?
No. My oldest actually just started kindy today, so she's got her first day of school today. But the other one's she's 4.5, and the other one's only 18 months old. So
oh my gosh, yes,
they're still little kiddies. So.
Yes, they are. So you do a lot of video, because you sent me a video to watch when you requested to be on here, and so I was like, okay, I'm interested in that. Like, tell me about your video background and why you make videos.
Yeah, right. So I like teaching. My sort of my bread and butter, if you like, is teaching and selling paintings, of course. But teaching is what I really love, and whether it be workshops or via YouTube or anything like that, I just love doing it. I just love the communication side of it. The instant feedback you get from things like YouTube is great. That video I sent you was an episode of the TV show Colour in Your Life that I filmed up in Sydney back in December. It's only been on air for a couple of weeks. It's got lots of views. It's really good. And but I just like that sort of immediate communication side of things. I love it.
Yeah. Okay. So you create these videos like to help promote your art brand, or
definitely. Yeah, it's all just promotion. I mean, everything's promotion. These I do some little snippets and things just to, as you know, like little videos really help Instagram following, all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of little things I try and do to build awareness up, I suppose, and to build a name. There's a good thing about all the videos is it's online, it's everywhere. You can send it internationally. I've got workshops coming up in Europe later on this year, and a lot of those get booked out from those videos and things. So it all really helps.
Yeah, video's great.
Yeah, definitely.
So can you talk us through your painting process? Are there any methods or techniques that you've used?
Well, the biggest thing I've learned with watercolor in particular, is that you've got to paint quickly. You have to do it quickly. You have to respond to your subject, put it down, and that's it.
Yeah.
So there's no real labouring over it. A lot of people think of watercolour as, that traditional, it looks like it was on the, like a picture on the cover of a Hallmark card from 1960 something. It's just that weak, insipid little children's book illustrations, that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. People think of watercolour as that, as a pretend medium, so to speak. But it's not. It's actually very, very strong, and a lot of people think that it fades and all that kind of stuff, but it just doesn't anymore. Everything's on 100% cotton paper, acid-free paper, perennial pigments. Everything's the same. It's equal, but you've got to. So many people approach it because you can't fix mistakes, so to speak. In general, you can do things, but yeah, you've got to just do it immediately. Just get stuck into it and don't worry about it. And that's the biggest thing I try and sort of teach at my workshops is just have a go.
Yeah. So you teach workshops. So what do you teach at your workshops?
Basically how to approach a subject. So if you've got a scene, say in landscape painting, the street scenes are a particular thing that trip people up, because you're dealing with man-made objects, so they've got to look a certain way. Mm-hmm. Whereas if it's a landscape purely just, trees and roads and water and things like that, then, you can kind of mess around with it a bit. But with streetscapes in particular, figures, cars, buildings, I just try and teach a way of simplifying everything. Instead of seeing a whole bunch of buildings, all you're doing is seeing a box, and figures, they're just an upside, right way up, depending which way you look at it. It's a carrot, it's a long triangle. So it's just that way of simplifying everything that I really try to push into workshops, and people get really good success out of it as well.
Yeah, cool. Awesome.
Yeah.
What is one thing you don't like to paint without?
Good quality paper.
Okay, yeah. What's your good quality paper? What's your go-to?
Saunders Waterford rough paper, 300 gram, or Archer's paper. They're both equivalent in my view. I'm used to Saunders more so these days. But you just cannot get a result. Like paints and brushes, you can kind of get away with, but with especially brushes. But with paper, you just can't. You can get the cheapest horrible paper, or even stuff that's just not quite there. It's halfway in the middle. You just get no results. It just doesn't behave like it should. So paper, absolutely.
I agree. Yeah, I just started getting into colored pencils, and the rough paper as opposed to the really smooth paper, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is just night and day.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, you can do more things with it. That's just that versatility factor for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Are there any art lessons you've learned the hard way?
Yeah. Don't get caught up in art prizes and competitions.
Okay.
So the one thing that I would suggest is to keep art prizes as something that you do. They're just a bit of fluff on the side. It's just nothing. It's just something that you enter if you want to, but don't place so much stock in them. Don't place so much importance. It doesn't matter. It's a title, but ultimately the result is based on somebody else's opinion of the work that's there. So I found it really disheartening the first time I entered a local art prize a few years ago now, and I thought I'd done great work, and even going around the exhibition at the time, like on the judging night and things like that, we were looking around going, Jesus, there's some rubbish here. There's some rubbish. I might be in with a shot, and it's just not. It just doesn't matter. And the judge just came up and awarded it to someone else. I don't even remember what it was, but just the lack of acknowledgement doesn't actually mean anything. So don't get so focused on competitions. It's art. It's not a competition. You've got to do it for yourself and do your own thing. But I see a lot of people getting caught up in it for sure. For
sure, yeah. And a lot of times when I the approach that I took mostly was to go where other artists are not. So, I mean, they're the obvious things. You can enter a show, you can enter this and do that. But, like, there's so many artists there. And, like, and I don't know if it's my just, like, not want for a competition. But it's also just, like, I want to stand out in a room where there are no other artists. And so that's where I want to go.
Yeah, exactly right. And you've just got to push yourself and paint. You know, if you're a painter, you've just got to paint. And the rest of it will take care of itself. And you enter those things for exposure, things like that. That's cool. But, you know, they're not the be-all and end-all. Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. Do you have a favorite past project?
Yeah, probably. I think the first time I started writing for Australian Artist magazine, which was, got approached about a year and a half ago now, and been writing for them pretty much non-stop since then. Had a painting featured on the cover back in, I think it was November's issue last year. And writing for those guys is really, really good because it gives you a bit of validation, you know, like it means you're on the right track, especially when you're going from an amateur artist into professional full-time artist and, you know, earning money and making a career for yourself. Then you've got to just take all those little wins, and those little wins, like your magazine articles, you know, you got something published, you've got to submit yourself to it, so then go for it. And getting published is an amazing feeling. And going into a news agency and seeing your picture on the front of a magazine, it's quite surreal. And it means that the hard work's paying off. And so I really like that. And the first time I ever did a workshop alongside people who are my idols in painting, they were fellow tutors in these cases. That's really strange, doing that. So, those things are great. And, they're things that stand out to me for sure.
Yeah, for sure. What are your future art plans and goals? What's happening?
Future stuff. I'm writing at the moment and filming an online course.
Oh, okay.
Watercolor fundamentals online course. It'll be fairly comprehensive. So that's a big one coming up. So that's probably halfway done. So that should be published in the next couple of months. That's a really big thing. It's a lot of work, as you know, filming things and doing things so they don't look ratty, you know.
Yeah, so, I actually was just editing a mural video that I had filmed, and it was just like I took like an hour and a half worth, and I trimmed it down to about 45 minutes just to get all the good stuff and to take out all the filler. That's right, and it's hard. It takes a lot of time to do that. That's the thing. Like I can't imagine these people that sit in edit bays and edit feature films. You know, their brains just must be mush. I kind of like it though, like the editing process. I kind of like it. It's good when you nail it and you go, that looks really good, and you just an idea comes to you, and you know, it's like the first time you use jump cuts and you go, oh cool, I know how to do that now. It's great. Just that and lots of workshops coming up, and writing for not only Australian Artist magazine, I'm doing some writing for British publications as well. So you're a writer and an artist? Yeah, just when we say writing, it's just all about art and articles and tutorials and things like that. Oh, okay. Yeah. But no, it's just busy, making phone calls and hustling, you know. Yeah, I know. Yeah. So is there any advice that you would give to artists who want to make art their full-time career but just don't know where to start? It's a hard one because you need to pay the bills, you know. You can't make art if you've got no electricity for lights to see what you're doing. So you've got to pay the bills. However, life's short. You've got to get stuck in and just bite the bullet and do it. Don't worry about what other people say. People will go, or your friends who are non-arty and don't understand will say, what are you doing? That's crazy. You've got an income and a mortgage and all that sort of stuff. And that's cool. But life is short. We don't know what's around the corner.
I think it's a better message to send to your kids if you've got kids. Better message to send to your kids to don't be scared to do what you want to do in life. It's short, and yeah, just get stuck in. Don't worry about anything. Just go for it. And the only way you can start is to start. It's the only way it's ever going to happen. And you know what? Nothing's forever. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But you've got to try. You've got to give it a crack.
Yeah. I gotcha. Very inspirational.
Oh, yeah, I'm Tony Robbins like that, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll start jumping into a cold pool and all that sort of stuff.
Oh, my God. Yeah, he does that like every morning, right?
Crazy person. I need some bigger teeth and all that.
Motivated, a bigger jawline, Tony Robbins.
That's right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you for coming on and chatting with us and answering all my questions.
No problem. That's okay. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, for sure. I know that several people on here, I can see in the comments too, like one person was like, this is great. And it's just, I think it's just so nice just to hear from working artists, because there are so many people, and I used to be one of them that just like didn't know that being a working artist was possible. And so that's why I started this. And so chatting with you all the way over in Australia, it's 6 p.m. where you are?
No, that's you. It's about 11, I'm coming up on 11:30. Tuesday morning. So
yeah, and it's Monday night here for me.
Yeah, that's
crazy.
Right. But you've just got to get stuck in and do it, and you've got to do the work as well. You've got to. You can't just sort of quit your job and paint and expect it all to happen. You've got to, you've got to use this thing called social media and the internet. You know, we've got it so much better in ways than artists have ever had it, as far as getting yourself out there. So you've got to use it. And if you don't use social media and the internet to your advantage, then you're just going to be left behind.
Yeah, true. So true. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you again for coming on and talking to me, and I hope you have a great night. We'll keep in touch here on Instagram.
Yeah, definitely, Andrea. Thank you very much, and thanks to listeners and subscribers as well. Thank you.
No problem. See ya.
Cheers.
This episode is sponsored by the Artist Academy Advanced Membership, a program for artists who want to up-level their art game by taking it from a hobby or a side hustle to a full-time six-figure art business. With weekly trainings that include step-by-step proven art business techniques, plus painting tutorials from yours truly and other guest artists who are masters in their field, you will be well equipped to learn and grow into the highly skilled and highly profitable artist you know you're meant to be. I've figured out what it takes to build my own six-figure art business, and now my heart is set on teaching aspiring artists like you to do the same. It's not hard, but it does require your time and dedication. So, if you're up for the challenge, go to advancedmember.com. That's advancedmember.com to learn more. If you've enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast and leave a review. If you review our podcast and send a screenshot of that review to me on Instagram, I am at Art by Andrea Earhart. I will then promote your art on my story and tag you as a little thank you for helping me grow this podcast and our Artist Academy community. I have a reach of over 50,000 on Instagram, so this is a little help me to help you incentive. Also, if you ever want your questions answered in real time by myself or featured guests, then just hop on over to facebook.com/groups/Artist Academy to check out the schedule every Tuesday to catch us on live. I'll see you next week.